Hey, 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 hey. Hey there, welcome. This is Numi Sanomna. I'm coming to you live again. It's a Monday night, and Monday nights are for live diary session on self-motivation. I have a reminder that reminds me every night, Monday at 8 p.m. to do this, and I've been consistently doing it on my personal page, but now I've decided to relocate it to Zenwa Concepts. I think this is where I want to host all my content from now onwards. So if you're following me on my personal page, Numisanomna, be sure to start following me on Zenwa Concepts as well so that you don't miss out on anything. Right. So the theme today is relocating from the cities back home. Ne? It's a obviously it's a live diary session, my diary. Ne? It's also an opportunity for me to share my learnings. Really, I thought about this for this week. I thought about it, I think, for the entire week, because I realized that it's happening a lot with people that I know that are in this similar age group that I am, wherein they find themselves having to contemplate going back to where we all come from. We all met in the city, but at some point a time comes where you have to go back home. So I just wanted to share how, for me, I managed to motivate myself to make that move, even though it wasn't easy. It was challenging. It was, um, um, yeah, I had a lot of trepidations about going back home, especially for me when it happened. I just suffered massive losses. I was broke, really. I had to start from scratch. It was gonna be easy starting from scratch from the city, but I also knew that the reason why I was broke to begin with was the fact that I had to find a way to move back home, and the moves I had made in the city to try and get me to move back home on a comfortable ground, I lost, you know. So I had to go back home with very little, and there was a lot of feeling like a failure, um, but I had to find a way to motivate myself to make that move. So I guess that's what I'll be talking about today. Okay, let's get to it. Okay, note, if you like this content, actually, please give me a star right there. Just hit up the star so I can know that you're enjoying this content. I can create more content. I want to know if this is helpful for anyone who's watching. Drop a comment, share your experiences. Everything is welcome. Let's talk. All right, so I know that when we leave home, I come from a rural area, Tlokweng, Mount Flesher, that's where I am now. When we leave home, we leave with big dreams that we're gonna make it big in the city, and we'll come back being these millionaires or having done well for ourselves. And for a majority of the time that we spend in the city, you find that you do experience all that success, right? But somehow God makes it such that at some point, um it just becomes hollow, especially around the time when you need to start making your way back. So first, I want to talk about the pros of actually motivating yourself going ahead with the relocation, despite the fact that you may find that the time wherein you're not as comfortable as you thought you would be when you go back home. How do you motivate yourself? So what are the pros of motivating yourself to make that move despite the challenges or the lack of resources that you may be experiencing? What I found is that having finally made the move, what I did take with me from Johannesburg was mostly my furniture. I sold some. I took what I wanted to keep. um, I took a lot of experiences. When I moved back, there was less stress in terms of worrying about where I'm gonna sleep, what I'm gonna eat, because obviously I'm home. What comes with home is a safe a place to live, where I don't have to worry about rent. I don't have to worry about the bond. You know, that for me was a big stressor that was minus when I moved back home. I could now think about other things without having to worry about where am I going to sleep, how am I going to make rent this month, and all that and all that. That was a pro. I think that was the one thing that motivated me to actually just leave, because I get fed up of worrying about um, the main bill being a place to stay, whilst also worrying about how I'm going to pick myself up from the massive losses that I'd experienced. Especially for me, the move happened around COVID time. So it just moving back home and having a comfy, warm bed, a warm meal every day, that was a definite motivator. Tick. Ne? Another pro about making the move is the fact that, in a way, when you're building from scratch from your hometown, or your home area, rural area, whichever setup it may be, there's also an element of building a legacy around the people that have known you from long before you were born. And that legacy tends to stand a whole lot better than in the big city where there's millions and billions of people that don't even care about you, and succeeding there, whatever you do, sometimes it can become like a drop in the ocean. But once you move out of the big city into the smaller areas, then your impact is more visible. You get more impactful, let me say, you know. So then you get to see your legacy starting to take shape in a way. I know this with myself. um I had a lot of people coming through to my home seeking my assistance with simple things that didn't even, I'd never thought that there could actually be things that people would need from me, and they didn't have that service before I came. Things like photocopying, typing. They would have to go to town for that service and have someone do it for them. But now, because I was home, they knew I could do it. I had a laptop, I had a printer. I found that there was a lot of people that came through for that service. Um, that was a pro, because obviously nothing's for free in life. They were more than willing to pay, and that gave me a bit of cash flow for, you know, those little things. You know, I love gardening, and there's always been a garden at home. So I took that up, and the spinach, yo, the spinach helped me with my bread and milk bill. It really, really helped. So in a way, that's why I'm saying, another pro is that your impact can be visible. Your presence within the community can be more visible, um, more than when you are in the city. Okay, that is number two. I have listed 5 pros and 5 cons. Ne? Okay, so another pro, which is a third one, is a support from the family. Well, when you're in the big cities, né, you do have that family that you build around yourself, usually friends and maybe your brothers and sisters that are in the same city as you, but you don't have that bigger structure of family, like the elders and the people that knew your parents and your parents' parents. You know, almost the how we are as Black people, like it's a massive family tree. You don't have that linkage to the family tree when you're in the city. But once you move back home, some of the things that happen first, né, is you start reintegrating yourself back to the family tree, né, and the support that comes from getting to know your roots all over again can be so heartwarming. I know it myself. Now you get reminded of how important you are in your lineage. You get to be reminded of the purpose of, that came with your birth. You get to be reminded of why you actually matter as a human being. That in itself can do a lot in picking you up. Your oh, we're back on live. Back live again. I didn't want to finish because I'm not done yet. Let's continue. My network is a bit slow. We're experiencing rain. So that support from the larger family Yeah, it can do a lot in terms of boosting your morale and your motivation to continue with life. Start afresh, find new ways of continuing with whatever it is you were doing in the big city. I mean, we can always continue. We live in a digital world this day. Whatever you're doing, wherever you are, you can do it anyway. And then we move on to the fourth pro. I just touched on it, the fresh start. There's nothing that feels as good as moving away from the big city, like I was in Johannesburg, and moving back to Tlokweng, fresh air, a brand new beginning. That fresh opportunity for a fresh start is great. For me, it wasn't just a fresh start in terms of moving from the big city to the rural area. It was also a fresh start in terms of establishing a new home for myself and my kids. I moved out of home. I am where my father gave me a piece of land. It took me, I think, it's taken me 7 years to actually work on this land to a point where I can actually live here with me and my kids. Right now, we live in a 12-meter shipping container. I live in it, I work in it. It's my business space, it's my home, it's my kitchen, it's my lounge, it's my bathroom, it's my shop, it's my sewing room, it's my everything. It feels good because prior to me being here, there was just an empty piece of land with zero, no neighbors, no nothing. It was just bare. Now we have neighbors around, the community is developing, and I have fencing. I have now even have like signage around. Um, there's growth. That is a fresh start. I could never ever have imagined how good it would feel until I actually make the move. Now that I've made it, yes, it took me 7 years, but it's been great building from scratch, you know. So the last pro that I will share is the fact that when you're relocating, you are coming with what comes with you is the experience from the big cities. Big cities, you get exposed to a lot of things that smaller towns do not have access to. So when you're moving, you have a wealth of experience that you can now tap into in terms of how you can start afresh. Yeah, it's always great to take advantage of those experiences to help you with a fresh start. Whatever you were doing in the city, you can still redo where you're moving. Maybe you might even enjoy a bigger success because there's less competition in the smaller town. So that experience, everything you did in the city, it will certainly serve you wherever that you're relocating to. So now we move on to the cons. I've also listed 5 cons. Okay, when I'm talking about cons, I'm looking at some of the things that you might see as negative, even though they may not necessarily be as so negative that you might imagine. Usually these are the things that make us not make moves because you're worried that, what if this, what if, the what ifs. Okay, first one, yes, it may take a while for you to generate income, right? Because you need to find your feet first, but it's an opportunity for you to yeah, you need to make the move in order for you to get into the town, and then you start getting creative in terms of how can I make quick cash here, how can I make generate income for myself. You will not be able to figure that out until you actually make the move. So I encourage you to make the move in order for you to see how you can actually generate income for yourself. The second one is the fact that obviously in a smaller town you will experience a different lifestyle from the one that you're used to in the big city. This hit me a lot, especially being a woman who was extremely artistic and liberal and free spirited and all that, and moving to a town where it's super traditional and most of the things that I'm used to, then they don't exist here, they're not here. And so I had to make a huge lifestyle shift. So I would recommend that you adjust your expectations. Be prepared to adjust your lifestyle a bit. Get used to the way of doing things around. Eventually, after some time, you'll find your own way of creating your own. Yeah, you will certainly you have to adjust your expectations and then adjust your attitude, and then you'll eventually find your tribe. That's for certain. Yes, there's certain things that you may not have access to, but I'm sure there's other things that you can recreate in your own way. Okay, fourth one is people will ask questions. People get curious. How was the city? What is going there? Why did you come back? And so on and so forth and so forth. So be prepared to answer those questions. Of course, sometimes it's hard to tell the real stories of the struggles that we experience in the cities, because people in the smaller towns and rural areas, they think that everything is all beautiful and shiny in the cities. They don't know. So I do encourage you to be authentic. Be authentic. Think about those questions and be authentic. Tell the real stories. Tell the real truth. Be honest, because when you're being honest to other people, you're also being honest with yourself. And in the process of being honest with yourself, you are then able to see where do you want to make changes in your life. You know, maybe there's certain things that you experience in the cities where you want to make adjustments in your current, the new life that you're starting. You know, you don't want to take your old problems with you to the new place, right? Yeah, when the questions will come, you have to be authentic, be open and honest, and see that as an opportunity for you to reflect on your city experiences and share with those that maybe are still aspiring to a life in the city. Okay, the fourth one is certainly fog. It can get so foggy when you've done the relocation, or when you're still thinking about the relocation. What do you do first? What happens next? How do we move? How do I move forward from here? And I think the suggestion that I can provide with that is you have to find a way to repurpose your knowledge, you know, in order for you to to get clarity on how to move forward. You need to be clear on your purpose in life. You need to do the digging. You need to do the self introspections. Why am I here? Why do I exist? You know, which then ties into the last con, which is confidence. Of course, you may not be as confident about yourself as you were when you're still in the big city and you used to come for holidays and you're good, you loaded, you saved up, you know. But now things are different, you know, and you may not be feeling as confident as you used to be. My suggestion there is that you also need to always know that you got this. You know, you got this. There's a reason why God is, or whoever you believe in, is moving you from. You were sent to the city for a purpose and a reason, you know. And when you're being taken back to your roots, there's a purpose and a reason in that. Be confident in the fact that that is not a mistake too, you know. You are bringing something from the city that is needed by the people that have birthed you and sent you out into the city for you to go out there and learn, experience, and then come back with all those experiences and make their lives better. You know, you have to find confidence in your purpose. You have to be passionate about the fact that what you have learned in the city will serve you where you are going. Sometimes it's not easy doing it on your own, finding that purpose on your own, that encouragement. Hence, I will encourage you to find a coach, a mentor, someone you can talk to, myself included. I do that. I do provide that service. I do also have a program that will be launching at the beginning of November, the BU, which is basically about helping you find that clarity, build that confidence, and invest in that creativity so that you can serve your new community with an open heart, so that you can see every challenge that you experience wherever you're relocating to as an opportunity to actually. So that's all I have to share today. The network is really bad. It was really hard to finish this, but I think I'm done for the day. I have shared enough. If you enjoyed any of this, please do share, comment.